Hi everyone. In this training, we will review how to use the digital survey tool for the upcoming point in time count for the balance of state continuum of care. The survey tool we are using is built in Survey 123, and you have the option to use this in your browser, either on your laptop or mobile device, or you can download the Survey 123 field app, and there is a download link here to do so. As a quick heads up, using the browser is the preferred way to do this, as long as you have solid Wi-Fi connection or cell signal on the night of the point in time count. If you may have spotty cell signal or you might have some issues with the Wi-Fi, that's really the advantage of the field app, as it allows you to collect that information offline and send those responses after you get back to a location that has cell signal or Wi-Fi. So I'm going to demo first using the browser. I'm going to click open in browser here. And we get to the first page to just kind of give you some reminders about the sheltered count. We also would encourage you to practice using this survey tool up through January 29th, but then would kindly ask that you not enter any additional test or fake data into the survey on the day of the count starting on January 30th. So we click next to begin. Then you can begin by selecting your agency site. This is a pick list that we programmed for shelter and transitional housing providers in our continuum. But if you don't see your agency or site listed, there is an other option at the very end, and you can type that in. I'm just going to enter other shelter provider for this tutorial. You can enter a program if applicable. If there's a specific program you're capturing data for, maybe your location has multiple shelters or transitional housing locations. I'm just going to enter some test data here. Enter the city. The county is a pick list of all the counties in the balance of state, so I'll just pick one randomly here. We enter the first initial of the volunteer name collecting the information, and then their last name, and then their email address. This does need to be a valid email address. And then we click next. The first question asks whether you consent, the person you're working with consents to participating in the survey. If you click yes, it'll load up the next options, basically all the PIT survey questions that exist. If you say no, it'll take you to an observation only section. All of this corresponds to the paper version of the survey that we've had a training for. And I would direct you to that training for how to answer these questions specifically. This training is more about how to use the survey tool. If they have additional family members, you can indicate that. You can enter the total number of family members. And then basically you're indicating the observed ages of what you would guess each person in the household's age is. So if there were 2 household members, I'd hit 2. I'd pick 18 to 24 for the first household member. If that's what I thought, I'd enter a second household member and I'd pick that as well. And I would not add a third family member based on me entering 2 up above. So let's go back and let's go back through. Let's say we have the consent from the person to do the point in time survey. Let's click yes. Let's move on to the next portion. We first start by indicating the type of sheltered location that the person is in. So if an emergency shelter, I'd pick that. If one of the others, I'd pick those things. Again, I'm not going to go over each and every question in the survey. That training happened and is recorded and will be included in the description for this video below. But I'm going to go ahead and just kind of roll through. Required questions have an asterisk, and you will need to indicate a valid response in order to proceed. So there's some skip logic built in. If you answer a specific way, you'll have to answer additional questions here. Then we can hit next once we have valid responses for each of the required fields. We need to complete the client demographic section for each person in the household. All this is covered again on the recorded training that we went over with providers previously. This is your date of birth after 1/30/1999 is going, if you say yes, that indicates the person you're working with is under 25 on the night of the point in time, and will generate the Youth Supplemental Survey questions, the YSS, at the end. So let's keep rolling. Just picking values to get through here. Things that are not required do not have an asterisk. So if they don't want to provide certain pieces of information, that is okay. If you need to add a second family member, you can. And this would allow you to then complete those same questions, indicating the relationship to the head of household for that second family member, and then recreating those same fields for them as you navigate through. And you can do that for up to 8 household members in the digital survey version. So I'm going to say no for the sake of time for the demo, which then collapses it up. You go into the next page, and if you remember, because we selected yes for this person being born after 1/30 of 1999, indicating they are under 25 years of age as of the night of the pit, we go on to the next page, which has those youth supplemental survey questions. All of these are not required fields, but this is the youth supplemental survey, and there is that secondary page that has all those questions that we've made available as well. So I'm going to go back. Just want to show you the YSS survey is baked in for the sheltered count. And let's say that they were not born after 1/30/1999. We'd say no. And then I can hit submit, and the survey will go through and be collected on the back end. You can then hit press here to submit another response and collect additional responses. The reason we recommend using your browser, if possible, is because it will cache or save the information that you have previously entered about the volunteer that collected this information. So if you are the volunteer and you use your browser for the digital survey, you don't have to enter this information in again unless you change locations or sites, or maybe city or counties, depending on the specifics for the work that you're doing. But if you're in the same place collecting information for the same site and program, all this information gets saved, and you can just go on to the next page without having to re-enter any of those details. Look at Survey 123 in action on our mobile device. I'm using my iPhone to do this, but you could do this on an Android device as well, or even a tablet. You still have the ability to open the survey in the browser, which is our recommended way to do it if you have cell signal or Wi-Fi that has a solid connection to the internet. But the advantage of the Survey 123 Field app is that after you download the app and load the survey for the first time, which will require internet connection to do, then you can use it in offline mode if you don't have good cell signal or Wi-Fi. So I'm going to go ahead and click open in the Survey 123 Field app here, that second box in the middle of the screen. But I do want to call out that you have the ability to download the Survey 123 app at the bottom of the page here by clicking on that black box. Since I'm using an Apple device, it'll take me to the Apple Store. And if you were using an Android device, it would take you to the Google Play Store. So I'm going to click open in the Survey 123 Field app, which I've previously downloaded. And it's going to take me right to that Survey 123 app. Really shouldn't need access to the camera here, so you can click don't allow if that pops up at you. You do not need to sign in. You can click continue without signing in. I'm going to go ahead and allow this to use my location while I'm using the app. And then you'll have the same survey options here as you will in the browser. But again, the real advantage of this is if you don't have internet connection, you can still use it. So I'm going to turn off my internet connection really quick to demo this for you. I'm just going to go into airplane mode real quick, which is not something you need to do on the night of the pit. Just kind of want to show you what happens when you are entering the survey without an internet connection. Again, I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom and click Other if I was a provider who didn't have my options listed in the pick list value here. And I'd enter my shelter or provider agency location details. So I'm just going to put Other Shelter Provider again. Program if applicable. I'm going to put Test for this just to get through it. Again, same for city. County is a pick list that I'll need to choose from. I'm going to pick one at random for the sake of time. We will keep going. I'm going to enter my first initial, my last name, and then I'd need to enter my volunteer email address as well. And that does need to be a valid email address in order to save, which really we ask this in case we have questions or need to follow up about surveys that were submitted. So then I can go ahead and click next on this page, which I've disabled the internet connection, remember. So I'm going to click next. And I still have the ability to continue through the survey. I'm going to go ahead and hit no for the sake of time. go onto that observation page and just really quickly show you what happens when you submit the survey with no internet connection. It's going to say, hey, you completed the survey, but your device is offline. And that's totally cool. Just click Save and Outbox. And when I go back into the survey, at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see Outbox, which is where I have previously collected that survey response. And I'll have the ability to push this through to the back end of the data collection system once I get back to a location that does have cell signal or Wi-Fi. So that's the really neat advantage of using the Survey123 tool via the mobile app. The disadvantage is whether you have cell signal or Wi-Fi signal or not, you do not have the ability to save the information you previously entered about your agency and volunteer details. So that's why we recommend the browser if possible. So that's really it. If you have any questions about how to use the Survey123 tool, either in your browser or in the Survey123 field app, please reach out to our team. We'd be happy to chat and talk through any questions that you might have.